Week 12 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few pitchers I will look to drop this week off my roster. The first guy's Nick Pivetta of the Boston Red Sox. So Pivetta, the last couple weeks, he's been struggling, and he's been a guy I recommended to drop a few times over the last few weeks. But right now, he's still owned in 45% of fantasy leagues, and right now, he's just not pitching the baseball good, and he's not really getting quality starts or doing much here for fantasy owners or the Red Sox on the season. 74 in a third inning, 6-3 record, 64 hits, 36 earned runs, 10 homers, 36 walks, 86 strikeouts, a 4.36 ERA, and a 1.35 WHIP with 4 quality starts. But the last couple weeks for Pivetta, 10 innings, 0-2 record, 12 hits, 9 earned runs, 5 homers, 5 walks, 12 strikeouts, an 8.10 ERA, and a 1.70 WHIP on the season. So Nick Pivetta, he's off to a great start on the year, 6-0, and that's when I said to go sell him high because I just thought he wouldn't sustain or maintain these stats, and that's just been the case now for him over the last month or two here for fantasy owners and the Boston Red Sox. So if you sold them high, good for you, because right now he's a 5-inning pitcher at best in the last few outings for Pivetta. June 12th versus Toronto, 5 innings, got the loss, 6 hits, 6 earned runs, 4 homers, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, a 10.80 ERA, and a 1.60 WHIP. And then June 18th at Kansas City, 5 innings, got the loss, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, a homer, 3 walks, 6 Ks, a 5.40 ERA, and a 1.80 WHIP. So right now, he's not getting wins. He's not pitching deep into games, and obviously he's in a tough division. And his next matchup is June 24th at tough Tampa Bay Rays team. So right now, I think it's an easy drop this week, and he's already been dropped in 5% of leagues so far this week. The next pitcher is Tony Goswin of the Los Angeles Dodgers. So Goswin, he came off the injured list 2 or 3 starts ago here, and he just hasn't been that good as well. And now he's day-to-day with a shoulder injury. And Goswin, he's been dropped in 6% of leagues so far this week. And I think that trend's going to continue on the season. We haven't seen much from him. Only 9 innings, 9 hits, 3 earned runs, 8 walks, 11 Ks, a 3 ERA, and a 1.89 WHIP. So he returned for his season start on June 14th versus Philly, and in that one he only went 3 2/3, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 5 Ks, a 2.45 ERA, a 1.91 WHIP. And then June 20th at Arizona, where he went in a short outing once again, 3 2/3, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 2 Ks, 2.45 ERA, and an 0.82 WHIP. So right now, Goswin, he's not healthy. He's not going deep into games, and right now he is still rostered in 54% of fantasy leagues. But in my opinion, he's a guy I just don't want to deal with at this point right now, that he's injured one game, then the next game he's good, and he's just not putting up any great stats to really garner a roster spot, only in the deepest of leagues. And right now he is spotted for a start June 25th versus the Chicago Cubs, but I just can't trust it right now with Goswin, and I would go a different direction and drop him this week because he's not consistent, and he really hasn't pitched much at all this season. The next pitcher is Carlos Martinez of the St. Louis Cardinals. So Carlos Martinez, he's been a guy, one good start, one horrible start, and another guy who's inconsistent, and you can't just trust him in fantasy leagues right now. And right here, it's been a weird season for him. 68 innings, 3-8 record, 67 hits, 50 earned runs, 6 homers, 26 walks, 47 strikeouts, a 6.62 ERA, and a 1.37 WHIP with 6 quality starts in the last couple weeks. Though the icing's on the cake here for Martinez to be garnered as a valuable fantasy option. 14 innings, 0-3 record, 20 hits, 15 earned runs, 3 homers, 6 walks, 16 strikeouts, a 9.64 ERA, and a 1.86 WHIP with a quality start. So right here, he's in a division that's decent to mediocre. There's a couple decent hitting teams like Milwaukee and Chicago, but those teams really haven't been hitting the baseball well the last couple weeks. But Martinez, he's going out there, and he's just having one good game, and then the next game, like I mentioned, getting hit hard. And here's the evidence. June 13th at Chicago, 7 innings, got the loss, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, 6 Ks, a 2.57 ERA, and an 0.86 WHIP in a quality start. And then June 18th at the Atlanta Braves, 3 innings, got the loss in that one, 8 hits, 8 earned runs, 2 homers, 4 walks, 3 Ks, a 24 ERA, and a 4 whip. So right now, I don't know how much longer these Cardinals are going to stick with him in the rotation, but honestly, they don't have many options as well to stick there. And his next outing looks good on paper, June 24th versus the Pirates, but you just don't know what Martinez is going to show up, and I just don't want to deal with him because one game it's great, and the next game he gets bombed. So right now, he's just best left off your fantasy roster, in my opinion. The next pitcher I would look to drop Dylan Bundy of the Los Angeles Angels. So Bundy, he had a breakout season last year, but this season it's been a train wreck for him, and I've been saying for weeks on and off to drop him. And once again here, Dylan Bundy, he's just not producing or doing anything. So right now, his ownership's on the season still 51%, and I think it should be lower on the season. 63 and a third, 1-7 record, 68 hits, 47 earned runs, 14 homers, 20 walks, 60 strikeouts, a whopping 6.68 ERA, 1.39 whip, and 5 quality starts in the last couple weeks for Bundy. He just hasn't gone deep at all into games. 6 and a third, 0-1 record, 9 hits, 8 earned runs, a homer, 5 walks, 5 Ks, 11.37 ERA, and a 2.21 whip. So right now, he's getting hit hard, and he's not even pitching in that great of a division where teams have great lineups. So right now, he's easy to read, and it takes me back to the days where he was on Baltimore, and he was a guy that will only go 4 or 5 innings and give up 4 or 5 runs a game, and he's exactly right on that course once again this season is Bundy. So the last 3 outings for him, June 7th versus Kansas City, 5 2/3, got the win, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, a homer, 2 Ks, a 3.18 ERA, 1.06 whip. Then June 14th at Oakland, 2 1/3, got the loss, 5 hits, 7 earned runs, a homer, 2 walks, 3 Ks, a 27 ERA, and 3 whip for Bundy. Latest outing, June 20th versus Detroit, he only lasted 4 innings, no decision, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 2 Ks, a 2.25 ERA, and a 1.75 whip. So Bundy, he's not going deep into games at all. He's getting hit pretty decent, and his pitch count just keeps building up quickly in these ball games, and he really hasn't gone out there and done much. His last quality start was May 2nd in Seattle, so that's all the proof I need right now to drop Bundy, and he's a guy you just can't count on, and he's a drop this week for sure. And the final pitcher I look to drop this week's Tony Santillan of the Cincinnati Reds. So I had high hopes for Santillan coming up as one of their top prospects in the system for the Reds, but so far in the early going of his career, only 7 2/3, 0-1 record, 9 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 homers, 5 walks, 8 Ks, a 4.70 ERA, and a 1.83 whip. So Santillan, he's had 2 starts so far in his career, and he hasn't managed to get through the 5th inning in any of those outings. And right now, his next outing is June 24th versus the Atlanta Braves, and he's a guy I just can't count on. I know he's one of the top prospects in the system, but right now he's not getting anything going, and he's not even qualifying for wins in his first 2 outings. So the first 2 outings for him, June 13th versus the Rockies, 4 2/3 in that ball game, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 4 walks, 5 Ks, a 1.93 ERA, and a 1.93 whip, which is pretty decent numbers. But like I said, he only went 4 2/3 and had a high pitch count and a bad whip with a lot of walks. And then June 18th at San Diego, 3 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 homers, a walk, 3 Ks, a 9 ERA, and a 1.67 whip. So right there, I know it's only 2 starts. I know it's early in his career, but it's just not cutting it right now for fantasy owners or the Cincinnati Reds. And if he has one more bad outing, like I mentioned versus the Braves on the 24th, I definitely could see the Reds pull him from the rotation or send him back to the minors. So right now, he's a guy I would drop. So that's a few pitches I would look to drop here in Week 12 of the fantasy baseball season.